Tesla co-founder and CEO Elon Musk says a new gigafactory location could be announced before the end of the year, as the U.S. electric vehicle giant's production lines play catch-up to huge global demand. While on stage at Tesla's annual shareholder event, Elon Musk implied that the automaker would choose the location for a new gigafactory by the end of the year. Musk teasingly asked his fans where the company should build, and when a few yelled out Canada, Musk replied by mentioning that he is half Canadian, so maybe he should consider it. So today's video is going to discuss the prospective location of Tesla's new gigafactory and the chances of Canada being the ultimate destination. But before we get right into it, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to ring the notification bell for future updates. Now, while speaking at the 2022 annual meeting of stockholders on August 4th from Giga Texas, Musk told a lively crowd to expect a record-breaking second half of 2022 as the company's existing 4 gigafactories built momentum. Musk said that the giant EV company is aiming to achieve a 2 million vehicle run rate by the end of the year, while noting that in the last few weeks, the company had turned out its 3 millionth electric car. Musk also mentioned that Tesla might get close to the 1.5 million mark and by exiting the year at a 2 million unit run rate depending on how the rest of the year goes. But Musk also stressed that this is a lot of work to do in the first 4 gigafactories in California, Texas, Shanghai, and Berlin in order to achieve those numbers while still contending with some supply chain difficulties. According to the Tesla CEO, the company has 10,000 problems that aren't difficult to solve individually, but pose a serious problem collectively. So, essentially, Musk believes that the rate of production is about how fast Tesla can solve the 10,000 problems. He also added that Tesla is solving the problems pretty fast, but there is still a lot of work to do. But the most important bit was that Musk told shareholders that the company might be able to announce another factory location later this year. What followed the information was a big response from the crowd, which wanted some hints on where this might be. So Musk invited suggestions from the crowd in order to get their perspectives, and that's how the Canada suggestion came about. Be sure to keep watching as we speculate on Tesla's new gigafactory. Okay, so Elon Musk's comment on Canada seemed like a throwaway comment at the time, but a July lobbyist registration from Tesla reveals the company might actually have its eyes set on the US's neighbor to the north. Tesla recently added an amendment to its registration with Ontario's Office of the Integrity Commissioner that sets forth the automaker's plans to engage with Ontario government to identify opportunities for industrial and/or advanced manufacturing facilities. To sweeten the deal, Tesla's lobbyists proposed such a facility could increase the competitiveness of Ontario and its ability to attract capital investment. This just proves that Canada is not far away from hosting a Tesla gigafactory. Even if it's not this year, it could come in the near future. Well, Ontario may not need much of a push to welcome a Tesla gigafactory into its lands. The region already has a thriving automotive ecosystem that plays off its neighbor Detroit. Ford and General Motors already have existing plants there. In fact, in April, the Canadian government invested about $415 million into GM's 2 new plants in Ontario, including one that will produce electric vehicles. This already signifies that even the government is pushing for an electric auto industry in Canada. That means that Tesla has a higher chance of thriving in that space, considering that the company is an already proven EV giant. According to Vic Fedeli, who is the Minister of Ontario's Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Ontario has attracted nearly $16 billion in electric vehicle investments in the last 20 months by making Ontario a competitive business environment, including reducing the cost of doing business by $7 billion annually. The minister indicates that they are building an end-to-end supply chain in Ontario and expect to continue to see more companies from around the world looking to the province as a place to invest and grow. This sounds more like an invitation to investors, and Tesla just happens to be one. With the right investment formula, Tesla can be able to successfully set up a gigafactory in Ontario while also benefiting the local residents. That way, the government will have no choice but to approve their request, since it's also an opportunity for the EV industry to grow. Tesla offers an established avenue to hasten the electrification of Canada's auto industry, which is an opportunity the government might want to grab. So ideally, it's also up to Tesla to decide whether or not they want to build a gigafactory in Canada. Musk said during the shareholder meeting on August 4th that Tesla could ultimately have 10 to 12 gigafactories globally, including the most recent introduction to the commercial on-road fleet, the Model Y. He added that they will be really good gigafactories with a likely average output of 1.5 to 2 million units per factory, which is enormous. Even though Tesla has opened gigafactories in Berlin and Shanghai, the US still makes up for the vast majority of Tesla vehicle sales globally. So it makes sense the company might choose another North American location for its next factory, considering the headaches the Shanghai factory has endured, with consistent lockdowns and factory line updates causing vehicle sales in China to fall. Tesla sold 28,217 Chinese-made vehicles in July, nearly two-thirds less than a month earlier, as a scheduled upgrade to its factory lines in Shanghai disrupted production. Tesla China usually exports more cars at the beginning of a quarter while focusing more on domestic sales at the end, but the company had to suspend most of its production at the Shanghai plant in July due to an upgrade that aims to bring the factory's weekly output to around 22,000 units compared with levels of around 17,000 in June. The output ramp-up at Tesla's most productive manufacturing hub comes after production losses during a 2-month COVID lockdown in Shanghai hurt the company's profit margin in the second quarter. And Tesla is probably seeking to introduce new gigafactories in order to cushion production when some of its factories are shut down, like in the Giga Shanghai scenario. Well, it is possible that Tesla is rushing to find locations to build batteries and vehicles closer to home after the Inflation Reduction Act was approved on August 7th by the US Senate. The bill is expected to trim US carbon emissions to 40% below 2005 levels by the end of the decade. That's short of President Joe Biden's target of 50% and not quite enough to help put the world on the preferred path of warming no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. But it's still a major step, one that could restore confidence in global climate agreements. The $430 billion bill could restrict automakers from using Chinese-made materials and require them to use North American-sourced battery components if they want to be eligible for consumer tax credits for EV purchases. In the end, we can never be certain about where this new factory might be, but market watchers suggest somewhere in Northern America is a good bet. Musk also hinted at some cool stuff happening on the supercharger front after noting that the company's charging technology had a pretty record in terms of actually working when people pull up to charge, which is not something that can be said across the entire industry, apparently. Tesla has by far the most extensive network of supercharging and destination chargers in the US and the world, and its network is considered to be pretty reliable. So there's no doubt that the company will have customers flocking to purchase their cars in the near future. And the only way to meet demand is by increasing the supply of electric vehicles produced. But that can also happen comfortably if Tesla builds new gigafactories. Well, it's safe to say that it will happen, but the only question is, where? Do you think it will be in Canada? Let us know via our comment section. Otherwise, stay safe and see you next time.